Thank you, Bob, and thank you to NAVFAC Southeast for the invitation and the opportunity to tell you a little bit about SSP, our mission, and how you all can be a part of fulfilling that mission. Out of curiosity, I'm interested in how many of you, aside from the NAVFAC folks, have even heard of strategic systems programs prior to today? Well, it's more than I was expecting, so that's great. And so I fully recognize it's right after lunch, so I will do my best to keep your attention and keep this interesting. To set the stage, I wanted to start my presentation with a quote from the former commander of STRATCOM, Admiral Charles Richard. In today's threat environment, strategic deterrence is foundational to our national defense. Every operational plan across the department begins with the assumption that strategic deterrence will hold. A safe, secure, and effective nuclear force remains the most credible combination of capabilities to deter strategic attack and execute our national strategy. So I want you to think about this in the context of what you heard this morning from Mr. Schwartz. Sea-based strategic deterrence is the foundation of our national defense. So strategic systems programs is the echelon 2 command within the Department of the Navy who is charged with the cradle-to-grave responsibility for the strategic weapons system. SSP has a highly specialized workforce composed of military and civilian, scientific, engineering, and professional personnel who work closely with private contractors and industry to maintain performance and safety of the Navy's strategic deterrence mission. SSP's mission is to be the nation's premier provider of cost-effective, safe, and secure sea-based strategic deterrence solutions and grow the intellectual capital to deliver SBSD 2084. So since 1956, SSP has executed this mission, providing a credible sea-based deterrent to our customer, the sailor in the fleet. SBSD 2084 is executed today and through the 2030s by the Ohio-class SSBN with a Trident II D5 and D5LE strategic weapons system. The modernization of weapon systems to support SBSD 2084 execution in a dynamic and unpredictable strategic environment includes the Columbia-class SSBN with the Trident II D5 LE2 missile and the W93 Mark 7 warhead. In addition, the introduction of conventional prompt strike, an intermediate-range non-nuclear hypersonic strike capability to the Zumwalt-class DDG in the mid-2020s, and the Virginia-class Block 5 SSN in the late 2020s will add a new dimension to the SBSD 2084 by providing a strategic conventional strike capability to fill critical gaps in the full spectrum of deterrence. So our director, Vice Admiral Johnny Wolf, set the following mission priorities. Sustainment. Sustainment is committed, or SSP, is committed to supporting currently deployed operational weapon systems, including the 14 Ohio-class SSBNs, the Trident II D5 strategic weapons system, and the W76, W88 family of nuclear warheads. Simultaneously, SSP will maintain and modernize SWS, supporting shore-based infrastructure and capabilities necessary to sustain the Ohio class to end of life and support Columbia class fleet introduction. So the Ohio was first deployed back in 1979, and they were designed with a service life of 30 years, and they've been extended 42 and are continue to serve today. The Trident II D5 missile first deployed in 1990. The D5 was life extended in 2017, and we're working on the next generation, the D5 LE2 life extension. The second mission priority is development. SBSD 2084 credibility is absolutely dependent on the continual modernization of the weapon system to counter emerging and future threats. And development includes the Ohio to Columbia transition. So the minimum 12 Columbia-class submarines are designated as the nation's #1 defense procurement program. The Columbia's plan to begin strategic deterrence patrol in the 2030s, armed with D5LE missiles. Also a part of development is the weapon system development. Following design, development, testing of D5LE2 in the late 20s to the mid-30s, Columbia-class will be loaded out with a new missile starting in 2039. The Navy's W-93 Mark 7 warheads will modernize the nuclear stockpile and leverage expanded D5LE2 capabilities to meet future warfare requirements. Nuclear command, control, and communications, NC3, are approaching obsolescence, and Stratcom is investing in modernization to ensure their effectiveness in deterrence well into the 21st century. SSB's Conventional Prompt Strike program is designing and developing premier non-nuclear weapon systems for land, surface, and submerged platforms to provide a multi-service, conventional, deterrent, and enable battlefield dominance by the late 2020s. And the third mission priority is our UK partnerships. So the United Kingdom has been an integral partner with SSB since 1963 through the enduring Polaris Sales Agreement, which reflects the special relationship between our two nations. The United Kingdom's Vanguard-class SSBN will be succeeded by the Dreadnought-class SSBN, and the Royal Navy has delivered a continuous at-sea deterrence without pause since April of 1969. The key enablers to achieve our mission priorities are people, industry, and the reason that we're here today, infrastructure. So the graphic you see on the right shows all the entities and the components that make up the Navy nuclear deterrence mission. The SBSD provides 70% of the US's deployed deterrent. It provides 100% of the UK's deterrent. SBSD is the most survivable leg of the triad, and nuclear deterrence modernization is the Navy's #1 priority. So in addition to the Columbia and the D5LE2, NAVFAC is modernizing the NC3, as I mentioned, as well as NAVAIR modernizing their TACAMO. And all these activities must be accomplished concurrently. So SSB is comprised of our headquarters and various field activities located across the U.S. Our primary hubs are headquarters located in Washington, D.C. at the Washington Navy Yard, as well as the Strategic Weapons Facility, Pacific, located in Bangor, Washington, the Strategic Weapons Facility Atlantic, located in Kings Bay, Georgia, and the Naval Ordnance Test Unit located at Cape Canaveral, Florida, which you'll hear more about in the next presentation. So, Subbase Kings Bay, as most of you know, is the home port to the Atlantic Fleet of ballistic missile submarines and guided missile submarines. It is the primary NNDM support for the East Coast. The Trident refit facility is where we conduct maintenance and repair of the submarines. The Trident training facility is where we conduct submarine crew training on operations and maintenance of the platform and the weapon systems. The Marine Corps Security Force Battalion provides nuclear weapons security, and the Transit Protection Program provides protection and escorts of the submarines as they arrive and depart Subbase Kings Bay and their swift land. So the Strategic Weapons Facility Atlantic is our East Coast factory in the field. This is where we assemble, where we store, and where we load our missiles onto submarines. SWIFTLANC's mission is to safely and securely deliver the right missile with the right payload to the right tube on the right submarine for deployment of ballistic and guided missile submarines with ready and reliable weapons. So construction of the SWIFTLANC complex began in 1985 and was completed in 1994. The SWIFTLANC complex includes roughly 23 production and production support buildings, 11 security force buildings, 66 missile motor magazines, 2 explosive handling wharves, and numerous other ancillary facilities. All of them were built in roughly the same time, and all are aging at roughly the same pace. So what you see up on the screen is the list of SSB and NNDM potential projects at Kings Bay. The majority of these projects support the sustainment mission priority. The highlighted projects there primarily support the development mission priority. And these projects in particular have specific need dates to support deployment milestones, as I mentioned earlier. The 2030, early 2030s for Columbia deployment, and 2039 for D5LE2. I want to share some additional statements from our director, specifically in regards to infrastructure. A sprawling infrastructure across the U.S. supports the cradle-to-grave care and management of the Navy nuclear weapons program and the developing CPS. This infrastructure provides the space, tools, technologies, testing resources, safety environments, and security systems to design, develop, produce, maintain, test, protect, operate, and decommission all aspects of the SBSD. Today's strategic nuclear triad benefits from previous generations that invested heavily in nuclear support infrastructure. That infrastructure promoted both safety and longevity of the weapon systems, as well as the high levels of security required for weapons of such import. Over 7 decades of use, some of this infrastructure has aged, and much of it has been extended beyond its design service life. This infrastructure can be leveraged in SBSD 2084 with the proper investment of resources to revitalize it and build in more capacity. However, restoring the infrastructure of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s alone is not enough to meet the dynamic and sometimes unpredictable demands of the future. In addition to revitalizing legacy infrastructure for use in SBSD 2084, the nuclear enterprise, and SSP in particular, must wisely prioritize the investment of finite resources in new and expanded infrastructure to promote the safety, security, efficacy, and credibility of the SBSD out to 2084. These investments will be made in weapon design and development capacity, transportation and storage infrastructure, as well as in technical operations and nuclear weapons security facilities. So, these challenges bring opportunity, and this is where you all come in. You have the opportunity to be a part of this critical mission by partnering with NAVFAC and SSP on the projects to sustain and modernize our infrastructure capabilities at Subbase Kings Bay. And I look forward to working with you on those projects. Thank you.